My parents said I should give my sister my $450,000 inheritance because weddings are once in a lifetime, you can always buy another house. It ended with her getting arrested. Hey friends, got a sec? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit subscribe. It's quick for you, but it really means a lot to us. Alright, let's dive into today's story. Original post. I never thought I'd be writing one of these, but I need outside perspective because I'm genuinely questioning if I'm being selfish here. I'm Kyle, 32M, and 6 months ago, my grandmother Margaret passed away. She was an incredible woman who raised me for several years when my parents Luke and Grace, 60M, 58F, were going through financial difficulties. When I was 8, they lost their jobs within months of each other, and rather than uproot our lives, Grandma Margaret took my sister Nicole, 28F, and me in for 3 years while they got back on their feet. During those years, I formed an incredibly close bond with my grandmother. I spent summers helping her maintain her farmhouse property, learning to fix everything from leaky pipes to damaged roof shingles. She taught me carpentry, gardening, and most importantly, the value of hard work and integrity. Nicole, being younger, never really connected with farm life. She preferred staying inside, and Grandma never forced it. When Grandma passed, she left me her farmhouse on 12 acres of land about an hour outside the city. The property is worth approximately $450,000 in today's market. She left Nicole her jewelry collection and $50,000 in bonds. The rest of her estate was divided among other family members. Initially, everyone seemed fine with the distribution. Nicole even said she preferred the liquid assets since she couldn't imagine living that far from civilization. The farmhouse needs work, probably $30,000 in repairs, but it's structurally sound and full of memories. 2 weeks ago, Nicole announced her engagement to her boyfriend Christopher. They've been together 2 years, and while I'm happy for her, what happened next blindsided me. My parents invited me to dinner last Sunday. After pleasantries, my mother Grace started, "Kyle, we need to discuss something important. Nicole's wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime event, and she deserves to have the wedding of her dreams." I agreed, congratulating Nicole again. Then my father Luke dropped the bomb. "We think you should sell Margaret's farmhouse and give Nicole the proceeds for her wedding and honeymoon. You're established in your career, you can buy another house later. But Nicole will only get married once." I sat there, fork halfway to my mouth, certain I'd misheard. But no, they were serious. Nicole sat there with this expectant smile, like this was already decided. That's my inheritance from Grandma," I said. "She specifically left it to me." Grace's response, "Your grandmother would want family to support each other. She'd be heartbroken to know you're putting a piece of property over your sister's happiness. The thing is, I'm not wealthy. I'm a high school history teacher making $58,000 a year. I've been living in a cramped apartment, saving every penny for repairs on the farmhouse. My plan was to move there next summer, have space for a workshop, maybe start the small organic farming operation Grandma and I always talked about." Nicole started crying, saying she already had her heart set on a vineyard venue that costs $40,000 just for the space. The photography package she wants is another $12,000. Her dress, $15,000. She rattled off numbers that made my head spin: flowers, catering, a month-long European honeymoon. The total came to nearly $200,000. "I can contribute to your wedding," I offered. "I can give you $10,000. That's substantial." Luke's face turned red. "Your sister gave you her unconditional support when you came out as gay. The least you can do is support her now." That stung. Yes, Nicole was supportive when I came out 5 years ago, but using that as emotional leverage felt wrong. My sexuality and her wedding budget are completely unrelated issues. Grace added, "You don't even have a partner, Kyle. Who knows when or if you'll get married. Nicole has Christopher now. Don't be selfish." I left that dinner feeling gutted. They're right that I'm single, but wrong about everything else. I've been dating Samuel for 8 months now, and while it's still relatively new, we've talked about the future. He loves the farmhouse idea and has offered to help with repairs. My parents have been sending me daily texts. Everything from Bible verses about generosity to photos of Nicole crying. They've even gotten my aunts Patricia and Barbara involved, who keep calling to tell me how disappointed Grandma would be in my selfishness. But here's what they don't know. I found Grandma's letter to me, tucked in the farmhouse deed. In it she wrote, "Kyle, this house is yours because you understood its value beyond money. You saw the mornings on the porch, the evenings in the garden, the peace that comes from working with your hands. Take care of it, fill it with love, and never let anyone make you feel guilty for accepting what I freely give. You earned this through love, not obligation." Nicole has started sending me listings for houses I could buy, after you do the right thing. They're all tiny condos or fixer-uppers in rough neighborhoods, nothing remotely comparable to Grandma's farmhouse. Christopher called me yesterday, saying he was disappointed in my lack of family values, and that real men make sacrifices for family. I barely know this guy, and he's lecturing me about sacrifice while planning to spend $200,000 on a party? The irony is that Nicole and Christopher both work in tech. Their combined income is roughly $180,000 a year. They could have a beautiful wedding for $50,000 and save for a house, but Nicole wants her Pinterest-perfect day. I'm now being excluded from family group texts. My mother posted on Facebook about children who forget where they came from without naming me directly. Nicole posted a crying selfie with the caption, "When family lets you down, broken heart," that got dozens of sympathetic comments. The thing is, I'm starting to doubt myself. Maybe I am being selfish. They're right that I could theoretically buy another house eventually, though probably never one with land like this. But should I sacrifice my grandmother's gift and my dreams for my sister's wedding? Samuel thinks I'm being manipulated and should stand firm. My best friend Anthony agrees. But the family pressure is intense, and I hate feeling like the villain in everyone's story. Am I wrong for keeping my inheritance? Update 1, 2 weeks later. I want to thank everyone who responded to my original post. Your perspectives helped me realize I wasn't losing my mind. I've held firm on my decision, but the situation has escalated dramatically. After my original post, I decided to have one more calm conversation with my parents and Nicole. I invited them to lunch at a neutral restaurant, hoping public space would keep emotions in check. I should have known better. I arrived early and saw Nicole's car in the parking lot. Through the window, I could see her, our parents, Christopher, and, surprise, his parents Donald and Jennifer were there too. An ambush. I almost left, but Samuel texted me encouragement. I told him where I was going, so I walked in. Christopher's mother Jennifer started immediately. "Kyle, we've heard so much about you. We're so excited to welcome you to the family, and we hear you're going to make Nicole's dreams come true." It clicked. They'd already told his parents I was funding the wedding. "I think there's been a misunderstanding," I said carefully. "I'm not." Nicole cut me off. "Kyle's being modest. He inherited our grandmother's property and is going to help make our wedding magical." I took a deep breath. "Actually, I've decided to keep the farmhouse. But I'm happy to contribute $10,000 to the wedding." The table went silent. Jennifer's smile froze. Donald's face flushed. Christopher looked at Nicole with panic. "You said it was handled," Jennifer hissed at Nicole. What followed was the most embarrassing restaurant scene I've ever witnessed. Nicole started sobbing, not just crying, but full theatrical sobs. Grace joined in. Luke slammed his hand on the table, making everyone jump. "You're destroying this family," he declared. "Margaret would be ashamed." "Actually," I said, pulling out my phone, "I have Grandma's letter here where she specifically told me to keep the farmhouse and never feel guilty about it." Grace snatched my phone, read it, and her face went white. This doesn't mean anything." She was probably confused when she wrote it. "Grandma had perfect mental clarity until the day she died," I responded, taking my phone back. Christopher's father Donald then offered to buy the farmhouse for me for $200,000, less than half its value, with payments over 10 years, no interest. "It's a win-win," he said. "You get money, we get the wedding funded." When I declined, Jennifer called me selfish and not real family material. She actually said, "In our family, we sacrifice for each other." Clearly, Kyle wasn't raised with those values. That's when I lost my composure. Sacrifice? Your son and Nicole want to spend $200,000 on a one-day party instead of saving for a house or their future children's education. That's not sacrifice, that's stupidity. Nicole gasped. "How dare you? This is my day. I've dreamed about this since I was 5. "Then you've had 23 years to save for it," I shot back. Luke stood up, pointed at me, and said the words that still echo, "You are no longer my son. Until you do right by your sister, you're not welcome in our home." I wish I could say I handled it gracefully, but I laughed. "Dad, you haven't invited me to your home in 3 years. The only time you call is when you need something." I left money for my untouched meal and walked out. Since then, it's been a nightmare. Nicole has started a GoFundMe titled, "Help Us Save Our Dream Wedding After Family Betrayal." She's raised $3,000 so far, mostly from family and friends who've heard her version where I stole her inheritance. My cousin Rebecca called to tell me Nicole's been shopping for her $15,000 dress, putting deposits on venues, and even booked their European honeymoon flights, all on credit cards, assuming my money would pay it off. Patricia, my aunt, left me a voicemail saying I was officially uninvited from her Thanksgiving and Christmas gatherings until you stop being selfish. Barbara, my other aunt, sent me a text saying Grandma must have been manipulated into giving me the house and that Nicole deserves it more since she's starting a family. The worst part? My mother called my work. She actually called my principal, Dr. Thompson, claiming she was concerned about my mental health and that I was showing signs of instability. Thankfully, Dr. Thompson knows me well and dismissed her concerns, but the fact that she tried to jeopardize my job over this is unforgivable. Samuel has been my rock. He's stayed over every night this week, letting me vent. He also pointed out something interesting. In all their demands, no one has offered any compromise. They don't want me to contribute, they want everything. My friend Anthony, who's a lawyer, reviewed Grandma's will and the letter. Everything is ironclad. The house is mine, clear and simple. He also mentioned that what my family is doing borders on harassment and I should document everything. So I've started keeping records. Screenshots of texts, saved voicemails, copies of Nicole's GoFundMe, where she lies about the situation, and even the security footage from the restaurant. My friend Michael works there and saved it for me. The funniest or saddest development. Christopher's parents called off their financial contribution to the wedding after the restaurant incident. They were apparently going to give $30,000, but Donald told Christopher he needed to reconsider marrying into such a dysfunctional family. This caused Nicole to have what I can only describe as a social media meltdown. She posted a lengthy Facebook rant about fake family, blood not meaning anything, and how some people's jealousy ruins beautiful things. She didn't name me, but everyone knows. My high school students have even noticed I'm off. One of them, Jessica, asked if I was okay because I seemed sad. I nearly broke down right there. These teenagers show more empathy than my own family. The only family member who's reached out with support is my cousin Thomas. He called to say he thinks everyone's lost their minds and that Grandma would be horrified by their behavior. He also shared that when he got married 5 years ago, he and his wife spent $15,000 total and had a beautiful day. It's not about the money, Kyle, he said. Nicole's always been the golden child who got whatever she wanted. Your parents created this monster, and now they expect you to feed it. He's right. Looking back, Nicole always got the bigger Christmas gifts, the newer car, the college fully paid for, I had loans. I never complained because I didn't want to be that person. But now I see the pattern. I've made my decision. I'm not selling the farmhouse. Not for Nicole's wedding, not for family peace, not for anything. Grandma left it to me because she knew I'd cherish it, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Samuel and I are driving out there this weekend to start planning renovations. He's excited about turning one of the barns into an art studio. He's a sculptor. We're also going to plant Grandma's favorite roses by the porch, something she always talked about but never got around to doing. If my family wants to disown me over this, that's their choice. I've spent too many years trying to earn their approval. Grandma saw me for who I was and loved me unconditionally. That's worth more than their conditional acceptance. Update 2, 6 weeks later. The situation has reached a conclusion I never expected, and I need to share what's happened. 3 weeks after my last update, things went eerily quiet. No texts, no calls, no social media posts. I thought maybe the family had finally accepted my decision. I should have known better. Samuel and I had been spending weekends at the farmhouse, making repairs. We'd fixed the front porch, replaced the kitchen cabinets, and started on the master bathroom. It was exhausting but fulfilling work. The house was becoming our sanctuary. Then, last Tuesday, I got a call from my neighbor at the farmhouse, Mr. William Henderson. He's an 80-year-old farmer who knew my grandmother for 40 years. Kyle, you need to get out here. There's something strange going on at Margaret's place. I left work immediately, calling Samuel on the way. When we arrived, we found Nicole, Christopher, and a real estate agent named Brenda in MY House, showing it to potential buyers. I walked in to hear Brenda telling a young couple, "The seller is highly motivated. We can probably get you a great deal." "The seller isn't motivated because the house isn't for sale," I announced. Brenda looked confused. Nicole stepped forward with this smug smile. "Actually, Kyle, I have power of attorney over the estate." She produced a document that my blood ran cold reading. It was a power of attorney form with my signature on it, except I'd never signed it. Samuel immediately called Anthony, my lawyer friend, while I confronted Nicole. "You forged my signature." She shrugged. "You were being unreasonable. This is for the family's good." Christopher added, "We've already put deposits down for the wedding. We need this sale." Brenda, realizing something was very wrong, quickly ushered the potential buyers out and left her card, mumbling apologies. Anthony arrived within an hour with the police. Yes, I called the police on my own sister. Forging legal documents is a felony. When officers Patricia Martin and David Clark arrived, Nicole tried to play it off as a family misunderstanding. But when they examined the documents and I showed them my actual signature compared to the forgery, things got serious. Nicole broke down, not in her usual manipulative tears, but in genuine panic. "You can't arrest me. My wedding is in 3 months." Christopher tried to intervene, claiming I was overreacting and that we could work this out as a family. Officer Martin informed him that forgery and attempted fraud weren't family matters but criminal ones. They arrested Nicole right there in my grandmother's kitchen. The same kitchen where Grandma taught us to bake cookies. The irony wasn't lost on me. Luke and Grace arrived as Nicole was being put in the police car. The screaming that ensued was something I'll never forget. "How could you do this to your sister?" Grace wailed. "Over a house. A stupid house." "She committed a felony, Mom," I replied, exhausted. "She tried to steal my property." Luke actually tried to physically intimidate me, getting in my face until Samuel stepped between us. "You're going to drop these charges right now." "No, I'm not." That's when Luke said something that still haunts me. "I wish Margaret had never taken you in. You've been nothing but trouble since the day you were born." Even Grace looked shocked at that. But Luke wasn't done. "You think you were her favorite? She only left you that house because she felt sorry for you. The gay grandson who'd never have a real family." Samuel had to physically hold me back. Not from violence, but from the urge to tell Luke exactly what Grandma had told me about him. How disappointed she was that her son had become a shallow, materialistic man who valued appearances over character. Nicole was released on bail that night. Christopher's parents paid it, surprisingly. The next day, I was served with papers. She was suing me for emotional distress and breach of verbal contract, claiming I'd promised her the house money. Anthony laughed when he saw the lawsuit. "She has no case. But let me handle this." What Nicole didn't know was that Mr. Henderson had installed security cameras after some equipment theft in the area. His cameras partially covered my driveway and caught Nicole and Christopher breaking into my house the day they showed it. That's right, they broke in through a window because I'd changed the locks. This additional evidence upgraded the charges. Nicole was now facing breaking and entering along with forgery and fraud. Christopher's parents, Donald and Jennifer, finally had enough. They called off the wedding and threatened to disown Christopher if he didn't drop the gold digger. Their words, not mine. Christopher, showing his true colors, immediately dumped Nicole via text message while she was at her lawyer's office. Her public meltdown in the lawyer's parking lot went viral after someone recorded it and posted it on TikTok with the caption, "Bridezilla learns crime doesn't pay." But here's where things took an unexpected turn. Last Monday, I got a call from Barbara, my aunt. She was crying. "Kyle, I need to apologize. I found out the truth." It turns out, Nicole had been lying to everyone. She'd told the family that Grandma had verbally promised her the house before she died, that I'd manipulated Grandma into changing her will last minute. She'd shown them fake text messages between her and Grandma, poorly photoshopped screenshots. Barbara had believed it until she ran into Grandma's lawyer, Mr. Richard Evans, at the grocery store. He mentioned how clear Grandma had been about her will for the past 5 years. I was always getting the house, and it was never in question. The family meeting that followed was explosive. Patricia, Barbara, Thomas, and several cousins confronted my parents and Nicole with the truth. Nicole, cornered, admitted to everything: the lies, the forgery, the attempted theft. Luke and Grace still defended her. "She was desperate," Grace pleaded. "You all don't understand the pressure to have a perfect wedding." Patricia's response was perfect. "I got married in my backyard with a potluck dinner. It's been 35 years. Maybe if you hadn't raised Nicole to believe she was entitled to everything, she wouldn't be facing jail time." Final update, 4 months later. I'm writing this from the porch of my farmhouse, watching Samuel plant the last of Grandma's roses. They're beautiful, just starting to bloom, and I think she would have loved them. Nicole's legal situation was resolved 2 months ago. She pled guilty to misdemeanor attempted fraud. The prosecutor reduced the charges in exchange for the plea. She received 2 years probation, 200 hours of community service, and had to pay restitution for the damage from breaking into the house. The forgery charge was dropped as part of the plea deal. The wedding, of course, never happened. Christopher disappeared from her life completely, moving to Seattle for a fresh start. Nicole had to return all the deposits she could, but still ended up $40,000 in debt from non-refundable expenses and credit card charges. She now lives with our parents, working 2 jobs to pay off the debt. The irony. If she'd accepted my initial offer of $10,000 and had a modest wedding, she'd be married and debt-free right now. Luke and Grace have not spoken to me since the arrest. They've told the family they have no son. It hurt at first, but I've realized they haven't acted like parents to me in years. Their love was always conditional, based on what I could do for them or Nicole. The family is split but healing. Patricia and Barbara have been wonderful, coming to help with the farmhouse repairs and bringing their kids to see the animal Samuel and I have started raising. We have chickens and 2 goats now. Thomas and his wife Rebecca are regular dinner guests. The best part? Other family members have shared stories about Nicole's past manipulations and my parents enabling. Apparently, this wasn't the first time Nicole had lied to get what she wanted, just the first time she'd faced consequences. Last month, I got a letter from Nicole. No apology, no acknowledgement of wrongdoing. Just a request for me to loan her $5,000 to help with her debt because family helps family. I sent the letter back with a copy of Grandma's note to me, highlighting the part about not feeling guilty for keeping what was freely given. Samuel and I are thriving. We officially moved into the farmhouse last month. We've started our organic garden, selling produce at the local farmers market. Samuel's art studio in the renovated barn is complete, and he's actually sold several pieces to collectors who visit the market. The house is filled with love, just as Grandma wanted. We host Sunday dinners for chosen family, friends who've become closer than blood relatives ever were. Anthony and his partner Brian, Thomas and Rebecca, even Mr. Henderson joins us sometimes. I've learned that family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about mutual respect, genuine love, and supporting each other's dreams without conditions or manipulation. Grandma knew what she was doing when she left me this house. It wasn't just property, it was a test of character, a lesson in standing firm against manipulation, and ultimately, a gift of freedom from toxic relationships. Nicole's wedding was supposed to be once in a lifetime, but she was right about one thing: it certainly was unforgettable, just not in the way she planned. As I finish writing this, Samuel just called me to look at the sunset from the porch. The same porch where Grandma and I used to sit, planning the future of this farm. The future that's now becoming reality, despite, or perhaps because of, everything that's happened. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well, surrounded by people who love you for who you are, not what you can give them. The farmhouse stands strong, just like the lessons Grandma taught me. And just like those roses finally blooming by the porch, something beautiful has grown from all this pain. Thank you to everyone who supported me through this journey. Your words gave me strength when my own family tried to break me down. Remember, you're never obligated to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm, especially when they're holding the matches.